While it is clear that the Bible forbids and lists punishments for practicing magic, it does not make a cut-and-dry statement against the efficacy of magic. In many cases, the Bible treats magic very seriously, rather than some kind of superstition to laugh at and be taken lightly. It also bears noting that the Bible does not claim that magic is the result of spirits, demons, or supernatural trickery. It doesn't even say that magic is the result of illusions and sleight of hand. This is a rationalization that Abrahamic believers often come to. They do this in order to categorically diminish and cope with the significance of supernatural occurrences that fall outside the normative framework of their religion. People love to say that magicians perform their tricks by the power of evil spirits. But this is simply not what the Bible says. As Bart Ehrman says, about attempts to harmonize contradictions between the Gospels, that's not the Gospel according to the evangelist. That's the Gospel according to you. And if people care so much about being biblically accurate, then you'd think that they would want to avoid mischaracterizing and altering the text with one's own hackneyed private opinions. The fact that people want to try to fit magic into an explicable box and downplay it betrays the reality that they fear it. Magic, at least in the Torah, is not the result of Satan. This particular biblical text comes before the introduction of Zoroastrian Persian influence, where Angra Mainyu served as the new template for Ha-Satan, an adversary. Remember, in the earlier biblical texts, Satan or Satan is not a person but a role, an adversary rather than the adversary. And the first instance of the word Satan in the Hebrew Bible referencing a supernatural figure comes from Numbers 22, verse 22, where the angel of the Lord is a Satan to Balaam. See also 1 Samuel 29, verse 4, 2 Samuel 19, verse 22, and 1 Kings 11, verse 23. All in all, the Bible depicts magic as being real despite being associated with evil. Here are two examples from the Exodus legend. Exodus chapter 7, verses 10 through 12. And Moses and Aaron came to Pharaoh, and they did so as Yahweh had commanded. And Aaron threw his staff before Pharaoh, and before his servants, and it became a snake. And Pharaoh also called the wise men, and the sorcerers, and they also, the magicians of Egypt, did likewise with their secret arts. Each threw down his staff, and they became snakes, and Aaron's staff swallowed up their staves. And Exodus 7 verses 20 through 22 says, And Moses and Aaron did so as Yahweh had commanded, and he raised the staff and struck the water that was in the Nile before the eyes of Pharaoh and before the eyes of his servants. And all of the water that was in the Nile was changed to blood, and the fish that were in the Nile died, and the Nile stank. And the Egyptians were not able to drink water from the Nile, and the blood was in all the land of Egypt. And the magicians of Egypt did likewise with their secret arts, and Pharaoh's heart was hard, and he did not listen to them as Yahweh had spoken. The text in Exodus says that the magicians repeated the miracles that Moses was able to do. It doesn't say that it was fake. It doesn't add a comment that what the magicians did was illusory or sleight of hand. The Hebrew word here is kain, which means thus, likewise, as much, or the same. The magicians performed supernatural acts in the same manner as Moses and Aaron. This is significant enough, but let's also keep in mind that kain, used in other parts of the Bible, can mean honest, veritable, or true. In other words, the magic of the wise men of Egypt was both the same in efficacy as the miracles of Moses and Aaron, and it was honestly done and veritable. So another interesting thing is that in pagan cultures, magic is traditionally not thought to come from gods or spirits. It definitely doesn't come from demons, as that's an entirely separate matter. Rather, magic comes from nature, or the Metadivine using nature as a medium. In plenty of myths around the world, humans and sometimes divine beings use magic against or to circumvent the gods. Even basic incantation uses a natural medium. Interchangeable with the spells, it signifies word, the sound of speech. Whereas the Bible makes magical acts such as the staves transforming into snakes or the turning of the Nile to blood as something caused by Yahweh, magic in this sense, when it's according to or as an expression of Yahweh's will, is tantamount to a divine command, rather than as a crafty manipulation of nature and primordial energy. And yet, the biblical narrative is not immune to its surroundings and influences. But, again, it is guilty of following the same sort of patterns that regular magic would in otherwise pagan contexts. There's really nothing innovative. We see magic wands, transmutation of physical objects or substances, and doing so to alter natural phenomena.